Frederick Douglass, one of the most influential African-American figures of the 19th century, was born into slavery on the eastern shore of Maryland in February 1818. His birth name was Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey, and like many enslaved people, he was unsure of his exact birth date. Later in life, he chose to celebrate his birthday on February 14th. Douglass's mother, Harriet Bailey, was an enslaved woman who was separated from him at an early age. He saw her only a few times in his life before she passed away. His father was believed to be a white man, possibly his enslaver, though Douglass never confirmed his identity. The lack of family structure among enslaved people was a deliberate tactic used by slaveholders to maintain control over them. At a young age, Douglass was sent to Baltimore to live with Hugh Auld and his family. This move proved to be a turning point in his life. Sophia Auld, Hugh's wife, initially taught Douglass the alphabet, but when her husband forbade her from continuing, Douglass took it upon himself to learn in secret. He read newspapers and books whenever he could, recognizing early on that literacy was a key to freedom. As Douglass grew older, he was sent to work for Edward Covey, a man notorious for his brutal treatment of enslaved individuals. After enduring months of physical abuse, Douglass fought back in a defining moment that symbolized his determination and refusal to be broken. This event, which he later recounted in his autobiography, marked a significant shift in his self-perception and a renewed resolve to seek freedom. In 1838, at the age of 20, Douglass successfully escaped from slavery by disguising himself as a sailor and traveling north to New York. He later settled in Massachusetts, where he married Anna Murray, a free black woman who had supported his escape. Main works. Frederick Douglass was a prolific writer and orator who used his experiences to illuminate the horrors of slavery. His most famous work, Narrative of a Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, was published in 1845. In this autobiography, Douglass provides a harrowing account of his experiences as an enslaved person, his journey to literacy, and his eventual escape to freedom. The book became a bestseller and is considered one of the most potent slave narratives ever written. Following the success of his first autobiography, Douglass published My Bondage and My Freedom in 1855. This work expanded on his earlier narrative, incorporating more critical reflections on the institution of slavery and his experiences as a free man advocating for abolition. In 1881, Douglass published Life and Times of Frederick Douglass, a comprehensive autobiography that chronicled his life from slavery to his role as a statesman. This final memoir not only recounts his personal experiences, but also details his involvement in major historical events, such as the Civil War and Reconstruction. In addition to his autobiographies, Douglass founded and edited several abolitionist newspapers, including the North Star, which he launched in 1847. The paper became an influential platform for the anti-slavery movement and women's rights advocacy. Anecdotes and controversies. Douglass's life was filled with remarkable moments that showcased his intelligence, courage, and wit. One well-known anecdote involves his famous encounter with Abraham Lincoln. During the Civil War, Douglass met with Lincoln in the White House to discuss the treatment of black soldiers in the Union Army. Lincoln welcomed him as an equal, and Douglass later remarked on the president's respectful demeanor. This meeting was significant because it demonstrated Douglass's growing influence and the increasing recognition of black leaders in national affairs. Douglass was also known for his sharp wit. During a speech in which he criticized slavery, a heckler asked him if he would ever return to Africa. Douglass responded, "I have as much right to remain in this country as you do, and more, for my ancestors were here before yours." His quick and pointed response silenced the crowd and reinforced his belief in African Americans' rights as full citizens of the United States. Despite his widespread acclaim, Douglass was not without controversy. One of the major points of contention surrounding him was his advocacy for political pragmatism. Some abolitionists, such as William Lloyd Garrison, initially supported Douglass, but later criticized him for shifting his stance on the U.S. Constitution. While Garrison viewed the Constitution as a pro-slavery document, Douglass later argued that it could be interpreted as an anti-slavery document when read in the context of its principles of liberty and justice. This ideological shift led to a break between Douglass and the radical abolitionist movement. Additionally, Douglass's involvement in politics led to criticism from some activists who felt that he had become too closely aligned with the Republican Party and the U.S. government. Some viewed his acceptance of political appointments, including his role as U.S. Marshal for the District of Columbia and later Minister to Haiti, as a compromise of his radical abolitionist ideals. However, Douglass saw these positions as opportunities to further his fight for justice within the system. Conclusion: Frederick Douglass's legacy as an abolitionist, writer, and statesman continues to inspire generations. His journey from slavery to becoming one of the most influential voices for freedom and equality is a testament to his resilience and intellect. Through his writings and speeches, he challenged the nation to confront its injustices and strive for a more inclusive democracy. Despite the controversies and challenges he faced, Douglass remained steadfast in his commitment to justice, proving that the fight for equality requires both courage and conviction.